Everyone, this is Let's Talk Sports with Tim McCain, and today we're going to be diving into a few sports topics. We're going to be diving into the NCAA tournament. Today is Let's Talk College Basketball. And the first thing I want to be talking about, Tennessee. Okay, Tennessee, they played two very tough games. They first played Colgate, and they ended up winning 70-77, and then they ended up winning against Iowa, which they won 82-77. And one of the things that I want to talk about for both these games, especially for Colgate, Colgate actually missed their best player who had a contact lens issue. His name is Ropolas Ivankuskis. And he was their leading scorer, but he had a contact issue and he could not see. There was a point of time where his team was running and they were competing against Tennessee the whole game, really. He would keep on asking his coach, hey, look, what's the score? While he was seeing his team cheer and you know, because they were going back at it. But the problem with Colgate was there was only two players that scored over 10 points. Jordan Burns was torching Tennessee, scored 32 points, was shooting from three, was going to the rack, going to the hole. Great game, great team. There was the only other player outside of Jordan Burns was Will Raymond, who scored 10 points and had 5 rebounds. But Tennessee, they were able to do enough because they had a balanced attack. You know, Grant Williams, he didn't score that great, but you know what? The Admiral Schofield played great. They had Jordan Bone and Jordan Bowden, who scored 10 to 15 points respectively. So you got to give them credit. You got to give Colgate credit for what they did, because it was a hard-fought game, especially when you lose your best player. And I wonder what would have been like if if Ropolas had continued to have played. So that's the first game. The second game is Iowa. Now, this Iowa game is interesting to me because when I watched it, Iowa knew they weren't as talented as Tennessee, and you could tell. But what Iowa decided to do was Iowa decided to outwork them, out physical them. Like, they were out there fouling guys, basically. Like, they were hitting guys, and they were doing kind of dirty plays. They were legit dirty plays. And I'm watching, I'm like, yo, I hope Tennessee blows them out, because I don't like it when teams are just they're just dirty. They're just dirty. I don't like that. And so I believe that I was hoping that Tennessee would win. But actually, the thing was, Tennessee had a 20-point lead. But what happened was Iowa totally outworked them, and they came all the way back. They came all the way back, and they nearly won it. Tennessee won 82-77, so I want to say congrats to Tennessee. It was a very hard-fought game, but ultimately the team with the best talent and the best coaching won. The next thing I want to be talking about is Duke, okay? Duke and Carolina. But first I want to talk about Carolina. Carolina, they were way better than Washington. I went into it saying 27-9. 27-9 Washington. That should be a hard-fought game, right? No, it was terrible. UNC destroyed them. UNC just has so many weapons, and Washington couldn't shoot. UNC shot 50% from the field. They shot like 48% from three. You know what the other team scored? Washington, they scored 38% from the field. They shot 40% from the free throw line, and they shot 31% from three. 38%. I mean, can you imagine that? 38%. That's like someone being a decent three-point shooter. 38, that's really good. That's really good for a three-point shooter. But 38% field goal range, and the other team is scoring 50. Now, granted, they really worked hard on the defensive end of the ball. They really tried, but offensively, they just couldn't get it going. And you could see that, and they struggled with it, and UNC dominated. It was like 82-59. Carolina, I honestly think there's going to be a Carolina-Duke matchup for the national championship. It's going to be a great one. Kind of what was reminiscent of what happened when Zion tipped the ball in to win the game. The next topic I want to talk about is Coach K and Johnny Dawkins. Now, the game's already over. Duke won. Duke won by Zion Williamson. He made a putback. He drove to the lane. He scored the basket. Taco Fall, who's 7'6", fouled him, and actually he was fouled out the game. And RJ won by putting a putback when he missed a free throw. But what really was interesting, not only was Zion and Taco, the matchup will Zion dunk on Taco, it was really about Johnny Dawkins and Mike Krzyzewski. And this story is interesting to me because Johnny Dawkins was Coach K's first superstar. He was the first guy who believed, he was the first superstar that believed in Coach K and what Duke was doing. And he took a team that was 11-17 his freshman year all the way to a national championship his senior year, leading his Blue Devils to a possible championship that they lost. He averaged 20 points per game. He was their legit first superstar. And to see him on the court with Coach K was definitely interesting, especially with his son, who actually, and the crazy thing is, Aubrey was a student of Coach K because his father was an assistant coach for Duke for several years. And so Aubrey, he played out, scoring 32 points. He looked like he was one of the best players out there. It was him and Zion, really, and Taco. For me, the three prospects, when I look at it, I say Zion, Taco, and Aubrey. And RJ to some extent because he made the putback bucket. But that was not his game. It was Aubrey's, it was Zion's, and it was Taco's. Taco, let me tell you something. That man, when I saw that game, I was like, yo, Taco could be a superstar. Now, no, I don't want to say superstar. He'll be good. He's good in the pros. The problem with Taco is he shoots 36% from the field, from the free throw line. That's terrible. Like, he has got the highest shooting percentage because he's 7'6", and he don't even need to jump when he dunks. But come on now, you can't shoot 36%. I mean, that's Lonzo Ball-esque, you know. And I like Lonzo. He needs to work on his free throw shooting though. But what I want to say though is even though it was a great game, it was interesting to see how Coach K was talking about Johnny Dawkins. You know, before he was talking about how he doesn't like playing against his own because it's like family. When he plays against some of his old players who are now head coaches, he doesn't really like to play against those guys because it's like family. That's like father, son, friends type thing. Same thing for Johnny Dawkins. He said, yo, it's tough battling friends. But I'll tell you what, UCF was prepared. They could have won that game. Matter of fact, the refs probably should have called a foul on really on Trey Jones. Trey Jones had committed a foul, but they didn't call it, just like they called it when Zion went right after the bucket with Taco. And so I just wonder, that could have changed things a little bit, and maybe people were like, yo, I don't want to see UCF in the Sweet 16 instead of Duke. All I'm gonna say to that is the better team won. It was a great game, but I'll tell you, Aubrey Dawkins could be really good in the NBA. He showed that he could be a potential top 20, top 15 pick. Honestly, that's what I would see about him. The next topic, and this is the final topic I'll be talking about, is John Morant. John Morant, yes, his team got blown out by Florida State. It's like 82 to 68 or 62. 92 to 62. They got beat by 30. Okay? But Ja is an incredible player. He's patient. He's a scorer. He's a passer. He can do everything on the court. And he should at least be in consideration of the top 1 pick. I know Zion Williamson, he's right now, hands down. Period. In the story, in discussion. This brother can ball. He's a hustle player. He goes to the lane. He can shoot from 3 even when he wants to. I mean, this brother, he's great. He's great. He's great in college. But I'm telling you, there's something about Ja. There's something about point guards in the NBA. Now we're seeing more point guards. This is a point guard-driven league. Whereas Zion has got that old school physical type game. He's like a Larry Johnson-esque, you know? And so I look at that and I say, well, he could potentially be really good. I see Zion averaging 18 to 20 a game. But I think Ja can end up scoring 18 to 20 a game with 8, 9 assists. I see 20 points, 9, 10, 11 assists, and 6 to 7 rebounds. I mean, I believe this guy could potentially be a superstar. And you got to at least look at his way. If I were the top 3 draft picks, I'd say between Ja, Zion, and RJ. Yeah, I said RJ. RJ, you definitely have to look his way because this brother is doing incredible things. But my main point, though, is that Ja Morant is worth teams looking at because he is a monster on the court. So that is my last topic for today. This is Let's Talk Sports with Tim McCain. Y'all have a good one.